The question is that the reports of committees relevant to the social development and housing sector be noted, and I give the call to the chairperson of that select committee, Gareth Hughes.
Madam Chair, kia ora, ngā mihi nui kia koutou kia ora. I rise to speak on the annual review debate on social development and housing sector. As the chairperson of the Social Services and Community Select Committee, it was a privilege to work with members across 3 other parties and the entities reviewed to conduct the annual review hearings. We conducted hearings and tabled reports from the Ministry of Social Development, the Ministry of Vulnerable Children, Oranga Tamariki, Housing New Zealand Corporation, the Office of the Children's Commissioner, Ministry of Pacific Peoples, Sport and Recreation New Zealand, the Artificial Limb Service, the Ministry of Culture, Tamaki Redevelopment Company, the Ministry of Women and the Museum of New Zealand Te Papa Tongariro Board. We also conducted annual reviews of Drug-Free Sport New Zealand, Heritage New Zealand, the Arts Council of New Zealand, Toi Aotearoa, the Families Commission, New Zealand Film Commission, the New Zealand Lotteries Commission, the Office of Film and Literature Classification and the Social Workers Registration Board, and had no matters to bring to the attention of the House of these entities. I want to quickly run through each of these entities and give a quick highlight from what the committee heard. Looking at the Ministry of Social Development, they play a critical role in our society, providing social welfare benefits, superannuation benefits, emergency housing, care and protection of children and young people. The committee asked questions around measuring child poverty, and over the next few months the committee will hear submissions on the government's Child Poverty Reductions Bill. Housing New Zealand manages around 63,000 homes, housing 180,000 Kiwis, and we heard about their work for affordable Auckland, Kiwi Build and new state houses. On a related note, we heard from the Tamaki Redevelopment Company, a company with joint Crown and Auckland Council shareholding to transform Tamaki over the next 25 years. Key issues canvassed by the committee were the speed of housing development, procuring a large-scale partner and home affordability and the Kiwi Build program. The Ministry of Vulnerable Children, Oranga Tamariki, was created in April of last year and was renamed the Ministry of Children, Oranga Tamariki, January this year. The Ministry works on a child-centred system, high aspirations for Māori children, investing in Tamariki amongst others, and the committee heard there are currently 5,700 children in state care at present. They told the committee their priority areas for quality social work practice, increasing the number of safe and loving places for children, and creating stronger partnerships with iwi and NGOs to commission stronger services for children. We also heard from the Children's Commissioner on his work advocating for children and New Zealanders aged under 18. We discussed setting targets to reduce child poverty, developing a national strategy to promote the wellbeing of children and 17-year-olds in the youth justice system. We heard from the Ministry of Women on their work for pay equity, increasing women's opportunities in education and public honours. An area they've been conducting research into is also the gender pay gap. The Ministry for Pacific Peoples told us about their work on the Pacific Employment Support Service, developing a language strategy, connecting with Pacific regions and promoting Pacifica people in the public sector. With Sport and Recreation New Zealand, we discussed the declining levels of participation in sport amongst young people, adults and volunteers. The committee was concerned about declining levels and noted in the community sport strategy the need to measure effectiveness of investing in community sport. We acknowledged the 20th anniversary of Te Papa in their review and discussed their plan to open a new museum in Manukau, South Auckland, opportunities for growth and the ability to meet demand. And lastly, we heard from the New Zealand Artificial Limb Service, and they told us of their work supporting the 4,354 amputees in New Zealand. We discussed property issues with their limb centre arising from historic peppercorn rental leases. We heard the buildings face significant issues involving deterioration, leaks and earthquake rating needing repairs and investments. They told us these issues were close to resolution and they were in the process of negotiating new contracts with DHBs and ACC to provide more funding. As a new member on this committee this term, it was a privilege to learn more about the work of these Crown entities and their dedicated public servants. I'd like to thank committee members, the staff and public servants who all played a role in this important aspect of scrutinising public investment in these entities. Kia ora koutou.
Madam Chair.
I call the Honourable Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I haven't taken a call for a while, so it's nice to be back in the House and in this annual review debate.